Yo guys, my name is Jonas. Today I'm gonna do a small informational video on the different kind of compression systems that we have in scootering. So we're gonna take a look at the ICS or ICS-10. We got IHC, HIC and SCS. So yeah, stay tuned and check it out. If you just want to skip ahead to some specific compression system, you can check out the timestamps that are in the description below. So, compression system, what are they actually there for? A compression system is the kind of mechanism that makes sure that your bars, they don't go like back and forth. So it's basically what makes the scooters dialed, or whatever you want to call it, at least in the head tube and the bearings that are sitting there. So yeah, if you don't have any kind of compression, you'll just feel your bar moving back and forth. And you can ride like that, but it's definitely not good for the parts. Normally I ride with a pretty like slaggy compression system, and that's how I like it. And I just accept that that my parts might break at some point. So yeah, it's there to keep it tight and nice to ride. And also when it comes to compression systems, you are always gonna get some kind of noise from the bearings or something like that. So if you tighten it up and it feels good, but it's making some small noises and maybe a click here and there, don't worry about it, because if you want to change that out and make sure that it's silent the whole time, you're gonna change out the headset every week. So just keep that in mind. So first of all, we're gonna start with the ICS-10 compression. With this, you typically, or you actually basically only see it on Flavor and Ethic products. So what I got here is the all-time popular Ethic Aerovan complete scooter, which runs with the ICS-10. And how does ICS-10 work? It's actually quite simple. So with the most scooters, you have the compression going from the top and down. With ICS-10, it's the other way around. So instead of having threads in the fork that will catch the bolt, they're sitting in the bar. So in the bar, you got a little star nut sitting up here, which is where the bolt, which is this one, is gonna reach. So when handling these kind of scooters, you need a tool, which you should get with this complete, for an example. You're gonna take the screw, put it from the bottom of the fork through to the top. When you do that, you see all the threads going here, which will fit with the star nut sitting inside the bar. So it's actually quite simple. To do this, you of course need to take off the front wheel, otherwise you will not be able to get this one in. But yeah, it's actually as simple as that. So to fix this, I'm just gonna slide the bar over, like that, and I'm gonna tighten. Tighten, tighten, tighten. And you probably need to tighten it for quite a bit because those bolts are quite long. At some point you will feel that it's getting like much harder to turn it. And that's when you know that you've reached like the point where the screw is really doing its work. So basically just tightening it, and yeah, you're good. And whenever it's like you want it, of course just slide the axle in again, put on the wheel, tighten the clamp, and you're good to go. Some good points about this is that it's pretty simple to work out, it's quite light, and yeah, that's probably why Ethic chose to do it. So yeah, ICS-10 compression, pretty simple. So the next one is gonna be IHC compression. And IHC it's not new anymore, but it's definitely one of the newer compression systems. And it's kind of evolving on the IHC compression that we're gonna talk about in a little bit. So what you got here is a fork that is 24 millimeter in diameter. And the shim that you add on top gives that extra 4 millimeters. So IHC will fit with bars that has an internal diameter of 28 millimeters. So keep that in mind. So how does it work? You got the headset bearing, goes in, and then you typically have this IHC compression ring, which makes up for the gap since the fork is a bit thinner and the bearings still are made for the regular 28 millimeter width fork. You're gonna need this little spacer here. So gonna put it in place, add this one on there so the fork is kind of stuck. Then you're gonna add the shim on top, add it on there, little ring, and then just tighten it up. So when you have this part fixed, you will be able to add this headset dust cap in the end. And when it comes to this kind of compression, it is key that your shim is longer than your fork. If the shim is shorter than the fork, no matter how much you tighten on top, it will never like put the pressure down on the shim, and that way your scooter will definitely not get dialed. So as said, important that it goes over the top of the fork. But yeah, IHC is like probably the most popular compression system right now. It comes with a lot of complete scooters, and I would say the thing that it's best for is being able to run with aluminum bars. So if you run aluminum bars in SCS, it will put more stress in a specific spot right here on the bar. So to get around that, you have a slit cut in the bar. And yeah, slide it on, of course, with this little cap first, and then the bar on. Like that. Tighten it up, line it up, of course, and you're good to go. So the next compression that we're going to look at is the HIC, and this is basically the same as IHC, but it's just a bit bigger. So with the IHC fork having a diameter of 24 millimeter, and HIC fork has it of 28. So here you add a shim on top, and then it goes to 32. So it works with oversized steel bars, which are 32 inner diameter and 35 on the out. Exactly the same as IHC, but just a bit bigger. This was quite popular many years ago. It still is popular, but definitely not the same as IHC or SCS. So yeah, HIC, pretty simple as well. So the final compression system that we're going to talk about today is SCS, and it's probably the most advanced one as well, so that's why we kept it for last. So what is an SCS? An SCS is basically a clamp that has the compression system built in. So it works with HIC forks, which is why an HIC and an SCS fork is the same. So a fork that has an outer diameter of 28 millimeter. With this clamp, you slide it over, and by doing that, they have the shim built in, which I'm going to show you. So as you see, there is this little lip inside the clamp, and what this lip is basically the HIC shim, you could say. So instead of sliding a shim over the fork, what you're going to do is putting on the clamp. With this, it's the same general idea that the shim has to be longer than the fork. Also, even though it's built into the clamp, it still has to be. And that is something that can be a bit confusing for many people, because you see how small this is compared to how big an HIC shim or IHC shim was on the other ones. So here, basically the shim is only this long. A lot of forks will stick up further than this little amount. So how do you solve it? How do you get the lip to be above the top of the fork? Well, what most people do is that they add some headset spacers. So on the website, you'll be able to find these headset spacers in different sizes. And you just slide them on top and put the clamp on top of that. And when doing that, you will kind of like raise the inner lip so it will be above the fork. And when that is done, you will be able to put the bolt in. Of course, your fork, since it's an HIC SCS fork, has a star nut built into it. And you'll just screw this in. With the SCS compression, I kind of have a rule of thumb. I would say that if you want it to be dialed, it should spin about half a turn without the bars. And I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to tighten this up. Now it spins about half a turn when I do like a little spin like that. And when you got that half spin and you add the bars on top, it's going to spin much better. But that's when you know that it's going to be dialed. So half a spin without the bar and you're good to go. Another important thing about SCS compression is that your bar is not allowed to have a slit, and that is important. So this is an titanium bar, which has a slit in it. Either you're going to cut it off totally and have that full piece, otherwise you're going to buy an SCS adapter. SCS adapters, they come in two different sizes, so it's important that you choose the one for 28 millimeter inside or 32. It depends on if you have an aluminum bar, steel bar, whatever. So when that is installed, you will not have the clamp sitting and squishing the bar together. So what's going to happen if you do it without having the slit filled in is that you're going to break the bar. Simple as that. It's going to tighten in here on the weak point and it's going to snap. So it is really important that you do not have a slit or have an SCS adapter in it at least, so you kind of get rid of that slit. And what I really like about SCS compression is, to me, it feels the strongest. It adds a little bit more weight than some of the other compression systems, but I feel like it's a minor detail. And the main factor is also that you can basically ride any bar. So you got two kinds of SCS, a standard and an oversized. And I can always recommend an oversized one, because with that, you'll be able to run any bar on the market. Even if they have a slitter set, you can cut it off or fill it in. So there will not be any bars that doesn't fit. SCS compression is my personal favorite, so that's SCS compression system. So that was the different kind of compression systems that I felt like was necessary to talk about today. I'm just gonna do a little summary. So we got the ICS-10, where you got the long tool. You take the bolt and take it from the bottom of the fork, screw it into the bar, and you're good to go. You got the IHC and the HIC, which was basically the same. Shim goes over the fork and then you tighten it in the top. And remember the thing about the shim length compared to the fork, so yeah, keep that in mind. And then in the end, the SCS compression, which is a bit more tricky and also has that dilemma with the shim length, but with it being built into the clamp. So yeah, keep an eye out for those details before you buy some stuff. If you have some questions, you can always hit up our customer service. The email is on the website. And yeah, check out our YouTube channel for other stuff, scoot related, skate, whatever. A lot of different stuff is there. And yeah, have a good one.